April 8, 2008, Helmand Province, Afghanistan. A British cargo plane opens its rear ramp and outrolls one of the most silly-looking war vehicles ever sent into combat. No roof, no doors, no thick armour, just 4 giant wheels, a machine gun, and 3 fully exposed soldiers sitting in what looked like a desert racing buggy. Even hardened Royal Marines standing on the airfield reportedly stared at it in disbelief. Because in the middle of the deadliest roadside bomb war on Earth, Britain had just deployed a vehicle that looked almost unfinished. It looked silly. Dangerously silly. The kind of vehicle that should have been destroyed in its first ambush. And yet, over the next decade, this strange British machine would survive hidden Taliban bomb fields, charge through ambush zones, outrun insurgents across open desert, and become one of the most respected reconnaissance vehicles of the entire Afghanistan war. This is the Supercat Jackal II. The vehicle critics called reckless, the Taliban learned to fear, and the machine built around one terrifying philosophy: don't survive the bomb. Never be where the bomb is. By 2007, British troops in Afghanistan were trapped in a nightmare. Roads had become death corridors. Taliban fighters buried explosives beneath dirt tracks, choke points, and patrol routes almost every single night. British convoys kept moving through predictable terrain, and the casualties kept rising, especially inside the Snatch Land Rover. Soldiers hated it. Some called it a coffin on wheels. The British Army realised something uncomfortable. Heavy armour alone wasn't solving the problem. In fact, heavy vehicles were becoming easier to predict. So Britain made a radical decision. Instead of building a tougher armoured truck, they built something faster, something lighter, something that could disappear into terrain no normal military vehicle could cross. That decision led to a small engineering company in Devon called Supercat. Its prototype already looked unusual. Wide stance, long suspension travel, lightweight frame, massive off-road capability. British Special Forces secretly loved it. But when conventional troops first saw it, many thought the army had lost its mind. Because the Jackal didn't look like a modern war vehicle. It looked silly, almost vulnerable. The gunner stood completely exposed above the roofline. The open cab left crews staring directly into the battlefield with barely anything around them except roll bars and mounted weapons. But that silly design hid something brilliant: mobility. Pure, violent mobility. The Jackal could blast across dry riverbeds, bounce through wadis, and tear across open desert at nearly 80 miles per hour. Its suspension system was so advanced, the vehicle could literally raise or lower itself depending on terrain. Taliban bomb makers prepared roads. The Jackal ignored roads entirely. And suddenly, British patrols started appearing when nobody expected them. That unpredictability became deadly. Then came Operation Panther's Claw in 2009, one of Britain's largest offensives of the war. Entire Taliban-controlled regions had become almost unreachable for normal patrol vehicles. But Jackal crews pushed deep into hostile territory, raiding compounds and hunting insurgent positions through terrain considered nearly impassable. British troops began describing the vehicle almost like a living thing. Fast, aggressive, relentless. But there was a darker side to the story, because when bombs did connect, the consequences were brutal. The open design that gave the Jackal its incredible visibility and speed also exposed its crews to horrific blast effects. British newspapers started attacking the vehicle. Critics called it irresponsible. Families demanded answers. Why would anyone send soldiers into combat in something so exposed? Then came the night that defined the Jackal forever. September 14th, 2012. Camp Bastion. Under cover of darkness, Taliban fighters disguised in American uniforms breached the base perimeter and launched a devastating attack. Jets exploded into flames. Gunfire echoed across the runway. Then, the Jackals rolled out. One was struck almost immediately by an RPG. Its commander, Sergeant Roy Geddes, was shot through the knee during the firefight. Most vehicles would have withdrawn. Most crews would have fallen back. The Jackal crews kept advancing. Through smoke, through explosions, through incoming fire. They fought all night. And by sunrise, the attackers were dead. That battle changed how many soldiers viewed the vehicle forever. Because the Jackal was never supposed to be a rolling bunker. It was a hunter. Even today, newer versions are still being built. They've operated in Mali, near Russia's borders, and even inside Ukraine. Not because they're the safest vehicles ever made, but because they're unpredictable. And on a battlefield filled with traps, unpredictability can become armour. That's what made the Jackal so dangerous, and that's why the Taliban learned to fear the silly British buggy that refused to die. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe for more military stories like this, and comment where you're watching from. Because sometimes the deadliest vehicle on the battlefield is the one nobody takes seriously at first glance.